When I made the video, I really disliked Jake Paul. Now, I don't dislike him. I understand him. I want to make something clear. I would still kick the living.
Andrew Tate just went off on Jake Paul, tearing into him like a bulldozer through a sandcastle. He didn't hold back, calling Jake out for being, in simple terms, an absolute jerk.
Because he's allowed himself to become the biggest clown on the internet, and now he's famous, right? Because he's an idiot. But he has a bunch of money, so he gets to...
Tate accused Jake of disrespecting boxing, a sport loved by billions and ruining its reputation. But Jake didn't stop there. He dragged Mike Tyson, a living legend, into his circus of a fight. Jake not only spoiled the event, but also disrespected Tyson's legacy.
I'm not some washed-up UFC fighter. I'm not smaller than him. I would beat the living shit out of him. And if he wants to fight, I'll fight him any day of the week, and I'll fucking wreck him, and he knows.
And all of this, just for a few more likes on his Instagram? Andrew Tate isn't holding back. He blamed Jake for making a mess of everything, calling it an embarrassment to combat sports and disrespectful to Tyson's legendary career. The worst part is that Jake doesn't even feel ashamed about it. It's pure shamelessness. Andrew isn't staying silent about it either.
However, I do understand what he's doing. I understand that he is very, very smart, even with his marketing angle. I'm just a YouTuber. You're not just a YouTuber. You're a full-grown man with the best coaches in the world who's dedicated his life to learning how to box for years. You know how to box. You're not a complete amateur. You know how to box very well. 3, 4, 5 years of training combat sports. You can box. The guy's not a jackass.
Andrew Tate totally tore into Jake Paul on live TV, and honestly, it was about time. Jake Paul calls himself the savior of boxing, but with a record of 6 wins, 1 loss, and a fan base more excited about his TikToks than his punches, he acts like he's changed the sport. Then there's Andrew Tate with 76 kickboxing wins, 23 knockouts, and no patience for Jake's social media boxing act. If this was a real sport instead of Jake's social media game, he wouldn't even make it past the tryouts.
I made a video that called out Jake Paul.
$3 million. You put 3, I put 3. Winner takes all. You know my name, Andrew Tate. I will fight you any day, anytime. Let's fucking go. If I were to fight Jake Paul, I would take it completely seriously like a real fight, and I'd whoop his ass. I'd beat him. Jake. Everyone thinks he's just some YouTube.
Jake's latest stunt, pulling a 58-year-old Mike Tyson out of retirement for what he calls a fight, is just ridiculous. Tyson is a legend, a Hall of Famer who's earned his place in history and deserves his retirement. But Jake thought it'd be a good idea to use Tyson's name to sell a pay-per-view event and call it a fight. Andrew Tate didn't hold back, calling it what it is, a joke, and not a funny one. This isn't real boxing, it's just an ego trip for content creators, and Tate's ready to put an end to it.
But he is not just a YouTuber. He is a young man training with Canelo and Ryan Garcia.
When I made the video, I really disliked Jake Paul. Now, I don't dislike him. I understand.
Tate, a guy who's fought top athletes for over a decade, called Jake out for filling up his record with opponents who either don't belong in the ring or are just cashing in their retirement checks. Let's look at Jake's list of opponents. A YouTuber, a retired basketball player, and a group of former MMA fighters whose boxing skills are about as sharp as a butter knife. Oh, and we can't forget the Mike Tyson disaster. If Jake spent half as much time training as he does picking easy opponents, maybe people would respect him, but here we are.
I challenged him because he is a very fortunate young man. And he's fortunate because he's extremely rich, because he's allowed himself to become the biggest clown on the internet, and now he's famous, right? Because he's an idiot. But he has a bunch of money, so he gets to...
When Tate called Jake a clown, it wasn't just trash talk. It was the truth. Jake Paul is the guy who shows up to a costume party in a suit and calls himself James Bond. He's just pretending, and it's obvious to everyone. Tate's challenge to Jake was clear. Stop hiding behind gimmicks, get in the ring with a real fighter, and prove you've got more than just Instagram captions. Tate has spent years fighting opponents who can actually fight back, while Jake's been focused on promoting himself on social media and showing off on TikTok. Jake's the guy who skips practice but still wants to be the leader. It's honestly embarrassing. If these two ever fight, Tate won't just win. He'll completely break Jake down in front of his own fans, and it will be the wake-up call Jake's been avoiding.
But I'd still whoop his ass. but I would whoop his ass. But he wouldn't take a fight against me, because when he loses, I'm not nearly on his level of fame, right? So like, he lost to who? Whereas if he loses to Conor McGregor, it's no big deal. Well, he lost to Conor McGregor, who cares, right? That's what it's about. But yeah,
it's still a win for him.
Yeah, it's money for him.
Let's talk about Tyson one more time, because it really deserves some roasting. Jake fighting Mike Tyson at this point is like challenging a retired Olympian to a sprint and calling it a fair race. It's disrespectful, desperate, and exactly what we expect from Jake Paul. Tate didn't hold back, and neither should we. If you're fighting someone 31 years older than you, it's not a competition. It's elder abuse. Andrew Tate might not do that, but Jake would because he lacks both humanity and common sense. On paper, Jake and Tate might look like equals. Both are over 6 feet tall and weigh around 190 to 200 PLs. But experience and skill don't show up on paper, and that's where Jake stands no chance. Tate has been fighting for over a decade, while Jake has been boxing for only about 4 years, mostly focused on making his next fight go viral on Twitter. Jake is more of a walking brand deal than an actual boxer.
I am ready. Go. Come on. Fight. Hey. Go fight. Hey. Fight. Hey. Good. Fight. Hey. Work. Hey. Work. Hey. Work. Hey. Work. Work. Hey. Work.
Andrew Tate has always said that Mike Tyson is more than just a name in boxing. He's a living legend and an icon who helped shape the sport. Tate respects Tyson like fighters should respect each other, with honor, not to use him for personal gain. For Tate, this isn't about a PR stunt or a viral moment. He openly calls Tyson one of the greatest. And unlike Jake Paul, Tate would never drag Tyson into a fake fight just to get more social media attention. Tate values legacy while Jake Paul values clicks. It's that simple.
Andrew, fighter, legitimate, badass motherfucker, strong mentality. I'm sorry, Tristan Tate is the weak link.
I say let's run
He got a bad shoulder. He's shaped like a gingerbread man. I don't want no beef, but that's delusion.
PFO will set this up.
Uh-oh.
A MMA double tag team match.
10 million for everybody.
You might have a fight on your...
Let's talk about Jake for a moment. The guy who thought fighting a 58-year-old Mike Tyson was a smart move for his career. But calling it fighting is generous. Exploiting is more accurate. Jake didn't see Tyson as a legend who deserved his rest. He saw him as a way to stay in the spotlight. The worst part is, Jake actually thought it would make him look like a real boxer. Andrew Tate, on the other hand, sees Tyson as someone whose legacy should be respected, not used for quick money. Tate didn't hold back, calling Jake out for trying to stay relevant with a desperate stunt. Even Tyson, who's too classy to directly roast Jake, has shown he respects figures like Tate because they've earned their influence through real work, not tricks. Jake Paul's actions probably make Tyson shake his head in disbelief. The difference is clear. Tate acts with dignity, while Jake is just a walking billboard for his next viral moment.
2 brothers, 1 cage. Jake Logan, you Tristan. Who comes out alive?
You know what? I'm trying so hard to not start internet beefs. I'm really trying not to.
You could say Jake and Logan, man.
Bro,
don't worry about it.
No, I can't lie. Bro, I'm going through life. I'm trying to live peaceful now. I've got Fed agents in my house. Matrix is after me. I'm just trying to live peaceful. But of course, I have absolute faith in myself and my brother, and I know what we've been through, and I know the kind of men we are.
Here's the thing. Respect is everything in combat sports. It's what separates the real legends from the fakes. Tate's respect for Tyson isn't just empty words. It's real honor, coming from understanding the hard work, sacrifices, and legacy of a true fighter. Jake Paul, on the other hand, wouldn't know respect if it hit him in the face with a boxing glove. His whole career is about picking opponents who either don't box professionally or are past their prime. It's not just embarrassing, it's insulting to the sport and to the athletes who take it seriously.
Nobody is sitting down right now for good reason. We have not only world champions of the past, we have world champions of the present. There is a field in the building.
The public's reaction to Jake's stunt was harsh, and it was deserved. Fans and experts saw right through it. Fighting Tyson at 58 wasn't a bold move, it was just a money grab. People were angry, not just because of the disrespect to Tyson, but because Jake thought this would somehow earn him respect in the boxing world. The combat sports community has had enough of the tricks, and is calling for Andrew Tate to step in and give Jake the reality check he's been avoiding. And let's not pretend Jake doesn't know what he's doing. He's been avoiding real fighters for years, carefully picking opponents to create a fake legacy. But Tate isn't some retired MMA guy looking for a paycheck. He's a former kickboxing world champion with 76 wins, and the kind of experience Jake can only dream of. If they ever fight, it won't be a battle, it will be a beatdown. Tate will tear through Jake like a buzzsaw through cardboard, and everyone knows it, including Jake. The media's having a blast with the idea of this fight, and the internet is filled with memes, debates, and predictions. People are begging Tate to shut Jake down once and for all. For Tate, it's a chance to show the world what a real fighter looks like. For Jake, it's a chance to prove he's more than just a YouTuber. But let's be real, he's not.